Thinking your balcony is too small to grow real food? Welcome to rootInsect.com.
And today, we're talking about vertical gardening towers, which honestly feel like the answer for people who want fresh herbs and salad greens without giving up every square inch of their outdoor space.
Yeah, this is one of those ideas that sounds trendy until you realize it's actually practical. If you're in an apartment, on a patio, or dealing with one of those tiny urban yards where you can practically shake hands with the neighbor through the fence, these towers make a lot of sense.
They do, because they grow up instead of out. That's the whole magic. You're using vertical space, and that can make a huge difference in a city setting. There's even research showing vertical gardening can increase yields by as much as 50% compared with more traditional setups, which is pretty impressive when space is your biggest limitation.
That number surprised me. I think a lot of people still picture a couple sad pots of basil on a windowsill.
Sad basil deserves better, Grant.
It really does.
But seriously, a well-designed tower can hold a surprising number of plants. Some are small and simple, and some can support more than 40 plants at once. So instead of one pot of lettuce, you could have lettuce, strawberries, basil, spinach, maybe a few flowers for pollinators if your setup allows it.
I love the idea of stepping onto a balcony and picking dinner. That feels luxurious in a very low-budget way.
It does, and the newer towers are better thought out than older ones. A lot of them are built to give each pocket or planting site decent airflow and light exposure, which matters. In tight spaces, poor airflow is where you get mildew, weak growth, and frustration.
So if somebody's shopping for one in 2026, what should they pay attention to first?
Material, watering, and size. Material matters because if it's going outdoors, you want something durable, like quality plastic that won't crack quickly, or a weather-resistant metal frame. Cheap materials can turn brittle fast, especially with sun exposure. Then there's watering. Some towers have built-in irrigation, and I'm in favor of that if your budget allows.
Here's where I push back a little. I know built-in watering sounds nice, but I also think beginners can overcomplicate things. Sometimes a simple tower and a watering can is enough.
For about 5 days, maybe?
Rude, but fair.
Look, I've done both. Hand watering sounds charming until July hits and your tower dries out by lunch. A built-in system or even a simple homemade drip setup makes life easier and keeps moisture more consistent. Plants like consistency more than heroics.
That should be on a t-shirt. And sunlight's the other big one, right?
Definitely. Most vegetables still need around 6 hours of sun a day. A tower doesn't magically change that. If your balcony is shaded, you may need to focus on herbs and leafy greens that can tolerate less light, or use grow lights indoors. That's one of the biggest mistakes people make. They buy the structure first and think about light later.
I've made that mistake. I once put a planter in the prettiest corner of the yard, and it turned out to be the darkest corner of the yard. The mint survived, mostly out of spite.
Mint would survive in a shoe.
True. What about maintenance? Because people hear tower garden and imagine something high maintenance.
It's really not bad if you stay ahead of it. Water regularly, feed the plants every couple of weeks with a balanced fertilizer, and keep an eye on overcrowding. Since you're growing densely, you don't want one vigorous plant hogging all the space. Harvest often, too. Lettuce, herbs, and leafy greens do better when you keep picking them.
And there are side benefits beyond just food. A little more greenery can cool down a hot balcony, improve the feel of a space, and frankly make city living less sterile.
Right. Urban green space has real environmental benefits, from better air quality to reducing heat around buildings. And on a personal level, growing some of your own produce cuts packaging waste and all the transport involved in store-bought greens. Plus, you're more likely to eat fresh food when it's right there.
So the short version is, if you've got limited space, a vertical gardening tower can turn that little patch of balcony or patio into something productive, as long as you choose one with the right capacity, solid materials, and a watering setup you'll actually use.
And put it where the light is, not where it looks cutest on day one. That's my final warning.
Practical and slightly judgmental. That's why you're here.
Thank you for listening to this edition of RudeInsect.com. Conversations with Grant and Fiona.